If you want to meet the new president and CEO of the Burroughs and Chapin Company, you can't knock on his door, but you can meet him on this morning's Carolina People. Catch him coming up next. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at Coastal Grand Mall, the Grand Strand's premier shopping destination. We're focused on the Burroughs and Chapin Company, and we're visiting with its new President and Chief Executive Officer, Jim Rosenberg. Good morning, Jim.
Thank you, Greg. Great to be here.
If I wasn't slumped back in this lazy boy chair, I'd be reaching over to shake your hand. But it's early on a Thursday morning. They were kind enough to open up the doors to let us in before they open up.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Exciting to get you in, and of course you've been in town now, what, 2-3 months?
I've been here about 75 days and nights.
Hit the ground running. Mm-hmm. You feeling good? The area's got a lot to offer.
God, I love it. It's one of those things where it's kind of an overworn phrase, but it's exceeded my expectations. It really has.
Already in 75 days?
Already.
Wow. That's what you came here from.
Well, I had finished an assignment in Germany.
Right.
A very difficult assignment, very 24/7 type of assignment, and I was tired. I moved back to my home in Atlanta, was my original home. And I was helping a gentleman whose company had gotten away from him, and I was helping him get it straightened out. And I was thinking, well, gosh, where do I want to live? I realized right away I don't like Atlanta anymore. It's not the place I was born and raised in.
Really?
And I started thinking, where do I want to live? And Myrtle Beach started entering my mind because I had some great times here when I went to college and graduate school and stuff. And I get a call 2 weeks later from a recruiter. We have an opportunity in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
You are kidding?
Yes, it was that fateful a thing.
That divine.
And I said yes, and they described the company. I came down and interviewed, and it just went great. And so we did it.
That's fantastic.
And it's just even better than I thought it really had.
So you grew up in Atlanta?
I grew up in Atlanta. Went to school, though, to college and graduate school in South Carolina.
I saw that. Presbyterian College, and then later to the University of South Carolina for business. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Of course, to think about ties to the Palmetto State and knowing that your experiences here were in other parts of the state, what was it about Myrtle Beach that had you thinking that way?
I wanted to be in a beach area, I realized, but I didn't want to go to Florida. I think Florida's run its course, and it just didn't appeal to me.
Right.
And I had so many great memories of Myrtle Beach. I even worked here one summer.
Is that right?
And
not for the Burroughs and Chapin.
No, it's a moving company. But I realized that how it was growing. It's so much than just one city. You start down at Georgetown and work your way up north. There's just so much to do and see and happening here. And it was a place that at my age, it was just a great place to spend the rest of my life.
Sure.
And then you combine it with this job, and when I researched the job with Burroughs and Chapin, I realized that I could take 30 years of skills that I've learned and apply it all at Burroughs and Chapin. Mm-hmm. And the final piece was the ownership of Burroughs and Chapin. Family-owned company, stable ownership. In today's world where companies change hands all the time, this is an ideal situation. I'll tell you one of the things I did in September talking about ownership.
Yeah.
I went around and met our shareholders. We have 220 shareholders in Burroughs and Chapin.
Is that right?
Family members of the Burroughs family and the Chapin family.
Right.
And when you think that for over 100 years, these two families have stayed together and own this company together is an amazing story.
That is.
And they still get along fantastic.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's great.
Now, it's Thursday, it's 7 a.m., but
it is
really
that great,
getting along
really.
that well. That's fantastic. Yeah.
It stunned me.
Yeah.
And these meetings I held with the shareholders, they were like in living rooms, 8 to 12 shareholders in each one. So it was a chance to really hear them firsthand and talk to them.
I wonder if that's, not to take anything away from your predecessors on down the line, but I wonder if that's something that had been done before. I mean, that's a great idea.
I think they've always tried to have meetings with the shareholders.
Sure.
But it really opens your eyes to how great it is.
Are most of the folks from Horry and Georgetown County?
I don't know the percentage, but our meetings were as far north of Chicago and then Columbia, Raleigh, Spartanburg, Charleston. So I'd say probably 50% of them are not in Horry County.
Is that right? That's fascinating. Earlier this week, on Monday, we kicked off the week with Kathleen Burrows and Patty Gresco pumping up Taste the Town, which was held on Tuesday night at the Convention Center. Of course, Kathleen and Edward Burrows, deep probably in some of those early sessions and meetings you had. And she's such a proponent, of course, as one of the best storytellers for the area and supporters of what all y'all do. And, of course, we're in one of the properties you have a joint agreement with, I guess, with CBL. A magnificent facility here. Do you come out here often? I guess in 75 days you probably haven't had too much time.
I do, but the other thing, I actually took a tour of all of our properties recently. You know, we have 30,000 acres in Horry County.
Oh, come on.
And when you drive around and you see all this, you go, it sends chills down your spine. Really, it's just, it's everywhere. And we have another 10,000 outside of the county. So we're very land rich.
I did not know that. I thought the holidays or International Paper or otherwise were the big players in land holding, but 30,000 in Horry alone. My Lord, Jim, that's fascinating.
It's everywhere.
Did you ever imagine attending Presbyterian in the early 70s that you would, what was it you thought when you were attending college and then later graduate school that you would get into over the last 30 years? You
know, people have asked me, you know, how do you get to be a president and CEO of a big company?
Great question. I should have thrown that out.
And I never had aspirations. I've even asked my mother and father, you know, did it show? Did anything particular happen? No. I mean, I always worked hard, but I never had big ambitions. But I'm almost the tortoise of the tortoise and the hare. I just kind of kept plugging along. I would volunteer for difficult assignments. I was never the best-looking guy or the smartest guy or the most dynamic person, but I was just always there. And people found that they could depend on me, and I was a great communicator, and I never let anybody down, and it just kept growing.
You think those are some of the keys that it takes for, I guess, for most folks to really get to the top?
And be disciplined. You have to really be disciplined. About almost everything you do, really.
I saw in the lineup of a lot of the pieces, experiences you've had in the last 30 years, it was oftentimes President and Chief Operating Officer to have had that real on the street, making sure you interact with folks and maintain. I see even now, of course, there's that same idea, but bringing other folks in and letting them really make it happen.
Yeah. You're so dependent on people, and I learned early on that you have to communicate with everybody. And when I walk through the door of our offices, or I walk through the doors to see one of our facilities or meet with customers, I know I've got to be on. I can't be in a bad mood. I can't have a bad day. You got to be up. And I think as long as you're up, you'll create that upness around other people.
Sure. What's a typical day like? Let's say you weren't sitting here at 7 a.m. on a Thursday at Coastal Grand Mall. Can you give a typical day, let's say earlier this week, maybe Monday or Tuesday? What's a typical day for you? Are you up early? Are you up
I'm
late?
an early person. I used to work out in the mornings. I now work out at night.
Is that right?
That's one part of my life I've switched. But I try to work out every day. That's kind of my drug of release. But I'll get to the office about 7:30, and then it's just a series of meetings. But throughout the day, I always try to walk around and see people and talk to people. One of the things I do when I take over a company is I hold lunches. And I probably do that about 3 or 4 days a week with employees. I take 6 different employees every day to lunch. And I've found in a group of 6, over an hour and a half lunch, I can get to know them pretty well. So I've done this with about 190 employees now.
Oh, come on.
At Burrows and Chapin.
Already?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's just a great way to meet the people and talk to them and, you know, what can I do to make your job better and what do I need to do? And it's a great experience.
That's fantastic.
And I'm a casual guy. You can see the way I dress. This is the way I dress every day. This is the way I dress every day.
I wish I could take this jacket off. Yeah. It's promoting our show sponsor. Yeah,
we even instituted you can wear shorts on Fridays. And I said, okay, we live at the beach. We work at the beach. Let's enjoy it.
Right.
And I think that opens up communication lines. What you can't be is an island if you're a CEO. You can't sit in the office and think you know everything and send out orders and do all that. I got to know what's going on.
That's fantastic. I've got to read this quote that Tom O'Dare picked up from you. It ran in the Herald on August 9th. Quote, my door is not just always open. I even removed it at one of the companies I ran. And when my executives did not take the hint, I had theirs removed as well. That's a pretty bold statement, and obviously highlighting it's an open door policy to the extreme.
That was, you know, I've done 2 stints in Europe, worked in Europe at the beginning of my career and this recently towards the end of my career. This happened at the recent, towards the end of my career.
In Europe.
In Europe.
Yeah.
And I tell you, working internationally was real big for my growth too, and I would recommend that to anybody out there who's really has a lot of aspirations.
Right.
Work in Europe sometime. Not only do you learn a different skill set, but you learn to love America so much more when you live and work in a foreign country.
Right.
I just love this country. But this was a job in Germany, and the Germans are kind of strict, by the book people.
Right.
And when I took over this company, every door was closed. Everyone worked behind closed doors. I said, we just can't get where we need to go being that way.
Right.
So I made the gesture of taking my door off. You can always come into my office. Well, they were coming into my office, but they still weren't opening their office. I said, no, this has to be everybody. So we just took them off. And it worked great.
Did it?
Yeah, it really did. It was so refreshing.
We had a guest on the show, someone you may know or gotten to know, Larry Biddle, about 3 weeks ago, and we talked about teaching an old dog new tricks, which is really tends to be a real difficult thing for folks who are later in their careers, have been doing the same thing forever. To think that could have worked well when you remove some executive doors, I can't even fathom that.
I've found that every place I've gone, you can teach them that way. And Larry Bill's on our board, and he's a great guy. He's always got some good sayings I like to use. But that is so true, and I will always do that.
You really can teach an old dog.
You can, absolutely.
That's fantastic.
But you have to reinforce it every day. You can't just, let's say, hold a course.
Right.
Let them leave that course and think they're going to keep it. They won't. They'll lose it. Not unless you're there reinforcing it every day. He
drove home this point, Jim, during that interview about you can't just say, Jim, great job. Great job today. Or, Jim, great job. You really made it happen. It is going that extra mile and say, Jim, thank you for answering the phone properly and wrapping up a phone call properly and signing off your emails. I mean, just going there to really highlight particular things that folks do.
The first thing, Greg, when I get to the office every morning is I send emails to everybody who has a birthday that day. Personal email from me, happy birthday.
Right.
And I know I get in before everybody else, so they'll get to their computer and they've immediately got a happy birthday from the head guy.
Sure, yeah.
And I think that's a great way to start the day.
That is. How about for you, some folks that were real inspirations during your early career, that maybe this last guy you were with there in Atlanta, who have been some of the folks, whether in an esoteric sense, men and women that you've read about, or folks that you've had hands-on contact with that have really made a difference, and what are some of the reasons why?
I do read a lot. I've told people that when I move to a new city, and I have done that quite a bit, and take on a new job, there's 2 things I always do to ground myself. I join a health club, and I join the library. And so the first 2 things I did here is I went and joined the health club, and I went and joined the Chapin Library.
Right.
And every week I check out new books, and it's usually one is something historical or biography in nature. Another one might be, it'll be fiction, a crime novel maybe.
Right.
And I get inspiration from reading, especially the biographies. There's a lot of them that are junk, but most of them have something in there you can grab from somebody. And I have been blessed with some good mentors. There were several people on my career who gave me opportunities to run, let's say, departments. I started in accounting.
You started in accounting. I think I saw that at Price a while ago.
And I have a CPA and all that. But then I went with some hotel chains. And I had mentors along the way who said, you can do more than accounting. I'm also going to let you run operations, or I'm going to let you run IT or the real estate group. So I was given those opportunities throughout the way. And that's the way you get to be a president of a company. You've run various other areas of a company.
Right. Obviously during those early stages, as you said, I stepped back and asked my parents, what was it about? I mean, anything special there that stuck out? Do you have brothers and sisters, Jim?
I have a brother and 2 sisters.
A brother and 2 sisters, yeah. So you've got some experience, obviously, with girls and seeing how to interface with folks other than just other guys.
And I played a lot of sports growing up. That I think that helped a lot. Teamwork is very, very important to me. And I stress that in any company I've been in, we're in this together.
Yes.
One of the things I say a lot is, if you have a problem, and you share that problem with me, it's our problem.
Yeah.
If you have a problem and you don't share it with me, it's just your problem,
Right.
and I can't help you. And you'll have to suffer the consequences.
Right.
So share it with me.
Yeah.
And we'll figure it out
That's a great
together.
example of teaching an old dog new tricks, because so many folks want to take it on, not let someone know they have a problem.
That's
And
right.
That's tough to do. That's tough to overcome that, because so often us folks want to show I can handle my problems. But again,
Right.
no one can do those things by themselves.
Well, that's also why I try to, the casual atmosphere means a lot to me. I think people, if they come into a boss's office and he's stiff and he's got the suit and tie on, I think it stops them for a second. And if they even stop for a second, they might not carry on. And so I want a warm, embracing, casual atmosphere that brings all that out.
I hate to highlight Larry again. One of the craziest things also that he talked about was taking naps in the afternoon.
We've talked about that. Because I think those are great things.
Oh, come on.
Oh, yeah.
Don't tell me you've been brainwashed.
Larry the other night said to me, I doze, but I never close.
Right.
And I think naps are great. There's not a Saturday and Sunday that I don't try to take a power nap. I think
That's
they're great.
hilarious. That's amazing. You know, with that idea of starting off the day with a workout, now you've changed it to ending the day with a workout. It's starting off the day with a workout and really getting pumped up so you can get out and hit the office early and make a difference early on. I'm sure that's a critical thing. Now that you've rearranged that to work out at the end of the day, you're still getting pumped up early.
Oh, yeah.
You're still finding a way to get pumped up early.
I'm fortunate that I sleep well.
Good.
And I know a lot of people struggle with that, but by the time I've worked a full day and then work out, I'm pretty tired by the time I get home.
Sure. What are some of the things that stick out in I think I saw Pat Dowling mention maybe 70-plus properties, different properties. Are there anything that sticks out now that you're beginning to get particularly excited about? I'm sure all of them are particularly exciting. I hate to drive into any of them, but anything that really sticks out that...
Well, yeah, we have 72 operating entities, which is too many. It's tough for anybody to get their arms around that many entities. What we really want to be, Greg, is a southeastern developer. Myrtle Beach will always be our home and our key, but we need to expand out of Myrtle Beach. And so we have 3 new projects outside of Myrtle Beach. And we want to be known as a premier developer in the southeast.
Yeah.
If I would give you an example of what that would be, it would probably be Grand Dunes. If you go out to Grand Dunes, which is a couple thousand-acre project, and if you start in the back of Grand Dunes, you have a country club, members club, high-end, its own private 18-hole golf course.
Oh, yeah.
You come back in, you have the resort club, which is another 18-hole golf course. You then have the Marina Inn, beautiful hotel with great facilities. You have a marina itself with a cafe on the marina.
Yes.
You would over across the street from that, you have a tennis facility and resort.
Right.
And then across the road, you have the Ocean Club, beautiful club on the ocean, pools, ocean access, beautiful dining. We're going to put a big spa in there. We've got Ruth Chris being built there. We're going to build a Lowe's and other shops across the street. This is going to be just an incredible facility. That's the kind of thing I think is our sweet spot that we do great.
And you think Burrs and Chapin can find other locations in the Southeast to do something similar to that? You're kidding.
We've already found 2. And I'll tell you, Greg, one of the ways this is going to happen is you're finding, just the other day a woman came up to me. Her family owns a couple thousand acres.
Right.
Some of the family members are passing away and getting older. They don't know what to do with these couple thousand acres. Well, they don't want to go to some New York public company and try to deal with them. They want to come to another family-owned company that understands their problems. That's who we are.
Yeah.
So I think that market alone of families that have extensive acreage, they don't quite know what to do with it. They know that's unlocked value. Well, let's go to Burroughs and Chapin. They know what we're talking about. They know how to do this. They're family people. That's a great market for us.
That's tremendous. And, of course, for you, you know, that aspect, I see a lot of the companies you've been with have been either publicly traded or borderline publicly traded companies. You're able to really empathize, or, I mean, are you able to?
Yeah.
It may be difficult having been from those perspectives now into the 75 days into the family-owned company.
Public companies are difficult. You are quarterly earnings biased, and it's tough life. It's great at Burroughs and Chapin that we can plan something long-term. You take, for example, our pavilion site and our our mall site, which are empty right now.
Right.
Well, I don't feel that I have to just go ahead and squeeze something in there
Sure.
to make some quarterly earnings project. I can take my time, I can do it right, and make sure we put the right thing in there that everybody wants.
Absolutely.
And that's a great situation to be in.
It's got to be a tough time for a lot of publicly traded companies around the Southeast. You think about some of the folks based in Atlanta, where you're coming from, or even all over, experiencing, of course, whether they're in residential real estate or commercial real estate. A strange timing, as you say, the experience of being with a company like Burrs & Chapin to take your time and obviously not have to make those quarterly earnings. That's a big deal.
It's a great thing.
That's got to be. That's got to be. As you travel around, as you highlighted, many of those properties are outside of the area. Are you seeing some experiences outside of Horry, Georgetown that really tickle your fancy, get you excited about ways that Burrs & Chapin can expand?
Yeah, these tracts of land really are everywhere. And we're going to start doing more joint ventures. So another thing, if a family came to us and said, well, we just don't want to sell it to you, we want to stay with it. Okay, fine.
Great.
We're willing to joint venture everywhere now.
That's fantastic.
And our big project in Raleigh and our big project in Greenville, South Carolina are both joint ventures.
I did not know. What's going on in Raleigh?
There's a little town outside of Raleigh called Wendell Farms.
Yes.
It's actually a town called Wendell. Well, we own 1,800 acres there in a joint venture. We're going to build a Grand Dunes type of facility there.
That's fantastic.
And they've just built new roads that within 6 minutes you can be in downtown Raleigh from our facility.
Oh, come on.
So it's going to be...
Within 6 minutes you can be in downtown Raleigh?
So it's going to be a fabulous venture.
You have some experiences in the Triangle? Do you know that?
Yeah,
area?
I actually lived there for 5 years one time. So
it wasn't with the Winston Hotel.
Yes, it was.
I saw that on there and I thought maybe it was, I didn't know if you'd worked with those folks
Bob
there.
Winston, yeah, sure.
That's fantastic. What a great area. And of course the Triangle's got special depth. You said the other one's in Greenville?
In Greenville, South Carolina.
Is that right? Well, of course we had read for years about a project in the Midlands, and I'm not sure about what Green Diamond's up to, but obviously there's a lot of projects, as you say.
Green Diamond's a huge project we have. We're in legal problems with the FEMA.
Hopefully everything will work out well there.
Yeah,
sure. And Greenville, being in the upstate, I don't think I had any idea of the expansion in Greenville until recently when Shulman
Greenville's strong.
Sent me some of the pictures of their condo and this magnificent park. Mike and Sandra Hogan have a beautiful place right there in the heart of Greenville.
They've done a great job in
Carolina
Greenville.
First has been working hard to really upfit that community. As you take the doors off, so to speak, in the area and tend to open that up, the reception from folks that have been here has been a positive one. You're feeling good about that, Jim, really?
Fantastic. Yeah, the employees have really embraced me. I've embraced them. The community has. It couldn't be better, really.
Was your first job the one with the moving company down here in Myrtle Beach?
My first job was in Atlanta in high school.
Is that right?
But I got started. The greatest summer job is working for a moving company. That's when their big business is.
Right.
And you can get a lot of overtime hours. You can, after your first year, they usually give you a truck and you can have your own crew. So it's a great summer job.
Right.
And I was at Presbyterian College and said, well, I've got this skill now. I can pretty much get a job in any city for the summer, so let's go to Myrtle Beach. I took 2 friends with me and came to United Van Lines down here, and they gave us a truck, and we worked for the summer down here, and it was
great. You are kidding.
Yeah, it was fast.
That's hilarious. And of course, your master's degree was, it looks like in 77.
International Business in 77.
30 years ago. Anything that really sticks out over the last 30 years that really has helped shape you to become where you are today?
Each one of the jobs had its own unique experiences, and I think that's the biggest thing anyone can bring when they get to my level is that I've seen it before. I think that's very important. When somebody presents something to me, I can tell them, well, this is how I saw it once before, and you might want to think about this.
Right.
The 2 international assignments were very eye-opening and very great.
One in Germany, was the other?
Both of them were in Germany.
Both in Germany. Huh? Do you speak German?
Pretty good at it.
Good,
the last assignment I had, my conversational German is very good. My business German was lacking.
A little rougher.
So I had a full-time interpreter all day long, every day. I carried an earpiece on my ear. He stood behind me with a microphone, and that would go on 7 days a week.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
Because I didn't want to interrupt people in the flow of a business conversation. Gee, I didn't quite catch that.
Right.
That's how
So those two international experiences obviously stick out. And did you find much of your career ended up being back in your hometown?
I did come back to Atlanta a couple times.
Right.
But I've been in Pittsburgh, Raleigh, Denver, 2 international assignments. It's been a great. Washington D.C. was a great place.
Great.
Not only was that a great job, but I really enjoyed living in Washington D.C. There's so many things to do there. I still have a home there actually, and culturally that really grew me a lot. Living in Washington D.C.
You're not worried that 65 is going to be a date that you don't see here at BNC. You're feeling good. This will be a place that you'll be for many years to come.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I'm going to get a boat. I'm going to get into it.
Yeah. Those are great words.
Thanks I may get a motorcycle. Who knows?
Oh, listen to that. That's right. The spring rally is not far away. Fall's behind us. Thanks for coming in this morning.
Thanks a lot for having me, Greg. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Jim Rosenberg coming up next. You can't beat that open door policy. You just can't beat it. Removing his own door and removing doors around him. If those aren't taken off, that idea of being open to others. But this quote just summed it all up. I got to read it. If you have a problem and you bring it to me, then it's a shared problem. If you have a problem and you keep it to yourself, then it's your problem, and the outcome probably will not be too good. Think about that. How many folks want to take on other folks' problems? How many folks want to take them and make them something that they're willing to take on? A great example of what Jim Rosenberg's all about. If you didn't get it the last 25 minutes, get it in town. He's got an open door policy.